in order to get through. And so, as I thought about, what could I leave us or start us with this week, it is this little bit of an area in this book called Transformed by Trouble. Again, this is Rick Warren's words. This is the purpose driven life. If you've never read this book, if you have this book on a shelf and never read it, if you don't own it, go buy it. And by all means, take the time to let each one of the chapters soak in. This is one of my favorite. So it's Transformed by Trouble. This is what it says here. Your most profound and intimate experiences of worship will likely be in your darkest days, when your heart is broken, when you feel abandoned, when you're out of options, when the pain is great, and you turn to God alone. It is during that suffering that we learn to pray our most authentic, heartfelt, honest-to-God prayers. When we're in pain, we don't have the energy for superficial prayers. There are many, many, many unhappy endings. We want the happy ending. We want where we want to know, hey, what's that really feel like to be happy? And how will we know when it's there? And we want to continue it and carry it through. But sometimes it's just a happy day. It's not days. And so in my life, I've had a lot of happy endings. But I don't want a happy ending. I want a happy beginning and a happy or a good feeling life. But in order to get that, good things do not happen every single day. And really, really bad things happen. And it's what I do with that and how I manage that mixes everything up, that gets any kind of happiness that I might want to feel or desire to feel. There have been good days that I've had. How about this? There have been days that have been so good, or moments that have been so good, and I question, is this it? Like, is this all there is? Is this what it is? I mean, how do we define that? How do we know when happiness arrives? We only know from what we see in books or see on television or whatever. It's a feeling inside. So I leave you with a couple of thoughts. And I'm curious about this, and you can email your messages to me as you do, and I do appreciate it. But I leave you with this thought. When do you think it was that a time when you were happy? When do you think that was? Because sometimes, and this is coming from me, I think it's a farce. I think it's a defined word that we're all keep chasing instead of being present in the moment and realizing that our levels of happiness are different and that we may be feeling or we may have it right in front of us and we don't even know it. So when was that time and what happened to it? Where did it go? I'm so curious. I'm really starting to become fascinated by this because I certainly know when I felt bad. But is what I'm feeling now, is that the true meaning of happiness or those moments? Because I think there's different levels and different degrees of happiness. I always think back to this time. I think about this guy all the time. We lived in an apartment at the time. We had just moved back to Ohio, and I'd just gotten the kids off on the school bus, and there was so much snow. It was so pretty out. But we'd just been hit with this ridiculous snowstorm. And we were like gossiping about, we couldn't believe, the kids had to get on the bus so that the school was still open and all that. And I was walking back to the house, and right behind me comes this snowplow truck. And I turn around and I look in the truck, and it is the most gorgeous guy rosy cheeks, big, beautiful smile. And, he's got like his scarf and his hoodie up around his neck. I mean, he really was an attractive man. And just laughing, just having a ball, plowing. And I thought, of all the jobs to be enjoying that much. And I waved at him, he waved back, and I just thought, God, he really is having fun doing that. Well, just because I think that would be a job that I wouldn't want to get out and get in the elements and get cold and drive around and plow snow and possibly get hurt and that kind of thing. He had so much joy. I could see it in his eyes. I could see it in his smile, in his demeanor and the way that he waved at me. He really was like a model, you would see in a magazine. Just so cute driving that truck, having a blast. That's his degree, his level of happiness. Who knows? He could just be thrilled to have a job. I don't know, but he had it within him. So where I might think something would make me happy, or you might think about something, what is that? I know it's a good feeling when I would close a deal. And there's that rush that everything's falling together and somebody said yes and I'm going to make commissions from this, and you get so excited. That's certainly a happy moment. But then what if they call 2 weeks and they cancel? There's just all these varying degrees of when we think we're happy. Where was it? When did it happen to you? Where did it go? And how do we get it back? A really life-balancing, good read is Purpose Driven Life, guys. I'm going to be reflecting on it. You may or may not like that, but you know what? It's my show. I get to do what I want, And I get some good feedback from you guys. So hopefully you are in a situation where it made a difference. Maybe you were inspired. Maybe you think I'm an idiot. It's okay. This is June 10th. This is Bev on the Bev D Show. And remember, if you're afraid to do something you really want to do it anyways. We call that courage. And by all means, you got a couple of choices out there. Fear or love. Let's try and lead with love. And if you're ever wondering if somebody doesn't love you, I do. Have a great day. Bye.